Uh, Hi guys. Um, my name is Vinay Bharadwaj. I run Enso Cure Home Healthcare, and if your patients live independently, you're living away from them. You've always got this knot in the pit of your stomach about what to do when there's an emergency. I got 14 calls from my mom. I was in a meeting. I don't know what to do. I'm going to help you create what I call an escape plan. A series of steps of things that you can do wherever in the world you are that will initiate an emergency response for them so that they can get care and things can get organized right away so we don't waste time in getting them treatment. Um, this plan includes, just keeping resources and numbers near at hand and making sure that these numbers are valid and the folks that you've included in your emergency escape plan are all aware of what you're doing. So the first things first, before you make your SOS call, you need to open Google Maps and center it around where your parents live. Whether it's Bangalore, Hyderabad, wherever it is that your parents live. And you want to search for every clinic and hospital that is within a 1 kilometer radius around your parents' home. Why 1 kilometer? Well, emergency services, ambulances, traffic being the way they are, 1 kilometer can sometimes equal up to 5 to 10 minutes or more to get there. And in an emergency, you don't want to have your loved one racing through snail's pace traffic to try and get to a hospital that's 5 or 10 kilometers away. A lot of very bad things happen on the way. You want to get the numbers of all of these hospitals and their emergency departments, and you want to start calling from wherever you are. Now, whoever picks up, A1. The people who actually pick up their phone for their emergency number, they are people that will go on your list. All right? Now, when you're talking to these folks in the emergency departments, you don't have to really ask much. Most emergency departments are pretty much the same across the country. What you do want to ask is, do they have the numbers of ambulance providers in and around that area? Most emergency departments will have a list of ambulance providers that they know of very well, and with different facilities. Some have oxygen, some don't have. You want to try and keep a list of these folks with you. So you have your list of emergency department providers. Now you have a list of ambulance providers. The second step is to call the ambulance providers. Now, this may sound kind of weird, like, why am I calling an ambulance before anything is actually happening? But trust me when I tell you, paramedics and ambulance providers want to be part of the community. They want to know, who in the community may need help, who in the community they can serve the best. Most ambulance providers hate being part of that 75% of ambulance providers that their only job is to transport the already deceased from place to place. They want to be able to save lives. A lot of them go for special training just so that they can help save lives. So if you're talking to them about your parents, saying, my folks live in this area and, dad's got a heart condition and mom's got diabetes, I'd really appreciate it if you could keep that in mind. You know what they're probably going to do? They're probably going to park their ambulance pretty close by to your parents' place, because they're like, hey, I know these people may need help, and I want to be there when I want to be a hero. So talk to the ambulance providers. Again, whoever picks up A1 score, they're going to go on your list. All right? Now, the third thing is to create a list of neighbors in your area, people you know, maybe family that you know. Sometimes family is not that close. You really want to, get to know your neighbors very well. And this is a socialization aspect as well as, a healthcare aspect. it wouldn't hurt you on Diwali to give some sweets to your neighbors every once in a while, just to ingratiate yourself to them a little bit. But the idea is you want a trustworthy neighbor who has access to your parents' home, who, if you call them in an emergency, is able to get into your parents' home and evaluate the situation, be your eyes and ears in that situation. So you want to get those numbers, and again, you want to talk to them. You say, hey, look, my dad's getting a little older. He's got heart problems. He's got hypertension. Mom's got diabetes. She might get hypoglycemic. If I call you, could you please go and check in on them? And you might want to give them a spare key. You might want to train their thumbprint into the lock that you've had specially installed. Whatever it is, you want to have a trustworthy neighbor who lives very close by. Now, if you live in an apartment complex, your resident welfare association members, your RWA members, that's what they're there for. They're not just there to tell you what color to paint your home. All right? Your RWA members, by law, are required to create systems to help emergency response across the city. There are laws actually on the books in Karnataka, at least, to make them do that. So they will be very happy to volunteer themselves as the person who can be your eyes and ears in an emergency situation. So once you've created your list of neighbors that you can call in a home emergency, the last group of people that you're looking for are physicians. Generally, you want to look for small clinics and local physicians, general physicians, who are willing to, not to go to the house. We don't want to waste time in an emergency situation for a physician to go to a person's house and start taking care of your parents. We want your parents to get into an ambulance and get to an emergency room as quickly as possible. What the physician should be willing to do, and you're going to have to promise to make it worth their while, but what they should be willing to do is go to the hospital where your parents are getting admitted, or go to the emergency room where your parents are being evaluated, and interact with the emergency staff. I can't tell you how many times I've done this myself, because it is very important that you have a person who understands your language, who understands who you are, who preferably understands who your parents are, who can liaise with the emergency department. Because a lot of the time, you're going to be calling the people in the emergency department, and they're not going to be picking up the phone because they're busy. They're busy taking care of your parents. So you want to have a person with knowledge and capability who can liaise. That means, interact with the people in the emergency room and, get back to you. That way, your parents' care is not delayed, and you get the peace of mind of understanding what's going on and what you need to be doing. It doesn't have to be a physician. It can be a nurse. Lots of nurses, we're not talking about highfalutin medicine here. We're not talking about advanced trauma life support or something like that. A nurse can be a very good liaison between you and the emergency department, or you and the hospital when your parents are admitted. So, what are we doing? We're getting numbers. We're getting numbers of clinics. We're getting numbers of ambulances. We're getting numbers of people, neighbors. We're getting numbers of doctors. We're having a little list that we're going to put up on our fridge, and we're going to be like, this is the SOS chain of calls that we need to make in an emergency. God forbid someone falls or hurts themselves or anything like that. But once you have that list up on your fridge, you're going to feel a lot more calm. You're going to feel a lot more in control. Your parents are going to feel a lot more taken care of because they know what to do next, and it doesn't require that they do anything. Because, let's say dad takes a slip and falls. Mom's not going to be thinking about all of this stuff right now. She's going to want to be at his side. It's going to be your job to get the emergency services, get the emergency response rolling. All right? So get your numbers together, talk to people, ingratiate yourself to your neighbors. Whenever you're visiting for your Christmas vacations and things like that, it's not a bad idea to just walk next door one day and say, hey, I'm here. Is there anything I can do for you? Maybe we can create the same response for you and your folks. That way, you get the community involved. People know what's going on with each other, and it improves outcomes to a very, very big extent. Now, if you don't already have this emergency plan in place, and if this is looking a little daunting, what you can do is you can call us at 6362191675, and someone on our team will help you put this emergency response plan together. We have a list of doctors and hospitals and care providers across the entire city. We can help you narrow down who you need to be calling in an emergency. We can make sure that those links are not dead. Those phone numbers will actually be picked up. And hell, we can form the liaison between you and the healthcare providers or the emergency room. So that's it. I hope this made some sense, and I really hope that you put this together with your parents as soon as possible. Get their buy-in. Thank you very much. Take care.